Good morning, everyone. Have you ever been scared to try something new? Has there ever been anything on the plate, the to-do list that you've been wanting to get done, but something kind of keeps you from diving into it? Something, maybe we call it fear, and that's what we'll be talking all about today, the good and the bad of fear. And essentially, we'll be breaking this down into two different parts and why it's actually hard, and then what are some of the benefits. Really, our hope today is to just get some more clarity on what our personal fears are, what my fears are, and some action steps we can take to lean into the fears, because living on that edge, living just beyond the edge of fear, I think is the opportunity to grow, to live a full and happier life. Cheers to that, folks. It's going to be a banger episode. Let's get into the show. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best person you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. This morning, episode 490. Let's get a fat 490 up in the corner. Shout out, road to 1,000. Nothing stopping us from getting there. So today we're talking about fear. Fear is something that I've been really trying to investigate, do research on for myself. So I thought, as always, these are talking points I'm doing in my own life. So sharing them with the world, and hopefully you guys can benefit from them too. But this idea of fear, like there's something, I don't know if it's survival based or like we're scared to try these things. We're scared to do these things, even though we know that they're good for us as I think from an evolutionary standpoint, human beings, when we used to get injured, you were done. Like modern medicine wasn't a real thing. Like if you broke your leg back in the day, homie, you were left for dead. Like you were done. They were, even within the recent world wars, just kind of amputation. We didn't really know how to help heal people. And I think the consequences of getting hurt or feeling like our survival's at stake has really driven fear back into the front floor of our minds. And as we continue to get smarter, as we continue to develop as human beings, intellectual creatures, I think this thousands of years of evolution have really pounded it inside of us to like, whoa, avoid that, because if you do that, there's a chance you get hurt and there's no coming back from it. But we know that times have changed. We know that technology, we know modern medicine, and a lot of these things are no longer true. So when it's why is it hard? So this is why it's hard. Hopefully you can read this. I love writing in cursive, but first we're going to start out. Why is it hard to overcome our fears? Why is it hard? And I think the first part is it's actually really natural. I think it's really natural that we tell ourselves stories. You've probably heard me talk about this on the show quite a bit in the past, is we tell ourselves these stories that are not actually true. If I do this and I screw up, it's all gone. It's all done. There's no coming back. Or if just these beliefs or false narratives, or these stories have really, I know personally, I've told myself a lot of stories in the past, and they've kept me from trying new things. They've kept me from living on this edge or just beyond it, into the unknown. So the next one on why fear is so hard. I think there's this fear of the unknown that plagues us all. I just don't know what's going to happen, so I get a little scared. I don't want to try this. Just the fear of the unknown. These are natural things that come up, I believe. So it's really natural from an evolutionary standpoint. And also the unknown is just kind of scary. In the description of this video, I wrote on this one a little bit, because for me, the fear of the unknown has really kept me back from trying a lot of things, for really just putting myself out there, putting my business ideas out there, just a handful of things, putting myself out there. I think we all do this fear of the unknown. However, it's so interesting to me that the fear of the unknown can be so scary. The fear of the unknown can keep us from living our dream lives, but we wouldn't want to know anyway. This is that weird paradox with fear that I find so confusing, and I'm trying to really wrap my head around. Maybe you guys leave some comments on things that you've discovered about fear. What are you learning about fear? And in the fear of the unknown, like, man, we don't want to know what's happening in the future. If you knew what I was going to be saying next, you probably wouldn't watch the video. If you knew what your friend was going to be saying next when you're sitting down for coffee, you probably wouldn't want to listen. Or if you knew what that was going to happen next, new movies, shows, entertainment, sports, all this stuff would suck and it wouldn't be any good. So we want the uncertainty in our lives. So uncertainty. Uncertainty. Okay. We want this uncertainty in our lives, but it's still scary. So maybe we can just learn to give it a new meaning. Like we've talked about sales. I've struggled. I have a lot of fear within sales, putting myself out there and doing all these kinds of things. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this morning. But fear of sales, fear of this kind of stuff, but flipping the language. Yesterday we had my new friend Daniel on, all the way from London, and he talked a lot about overcoming injuries through mindset and interpretation, the language that we give things. So maybe that's the flip that we give the fear of the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, but would I really want to know anyway? So maybe that can be a little helpful. That's one of the angles I'm kind of approaching fear with. Like, I don't really know what's going to happen, but uncertainty is good, and it gets me excited, and that's really what I want to have. So fear of the unknown coming in at our list. So the next one under our list of why fear sucks, why is it hard, would be discomfort. Discomfort. Being uncomfortable is not ideal. So, however, the truth of it is that I'm really discovering discomfort is growth. So growth is the benefit, but discomfort is a reason why we avoid our fears, or discomfort is why I have avoided a lot of my fears. And I think discomfort comes from a combination of natural and unknown, the fear of the unknown, to create this discomfort. So for example, I'm not very good at sales yet. But as I get better over time, I think this uncomfortability will decrease. Think of anything that you first started doing and you weren't very good at it. Was it uncomfortable? Was it hard to motivate yourself to do it? For me, a lot of these times it's yes, like beginning more into design and helping my clients like create content off of the frameworks that we do together, and getting comfortable with the tools and softwares for that, getting comfortable with the systems and automations of running a business nowadays and trying to keep up with competition, or a slew of other things, right? So I feel this discomfort. And I think this is the third one of the major reasons of why fear is so hard and why it's so difficult, because we don't like to be uncomfortable. Totally get it. We don't like to be uncomfortable. Discomfort coming in at another reason. So our next reason up on our list comes from past experiences. Past experiences. So why facing our fears is so difficult? Number four reason coming on our list is past experiences. Humans are pattern forming creatures. We like to understand patterns. That's our key word for this one. Patterns. We always want to form a pattern so we can try and get rid of this unknown. So we can get rid of this discomfort. So we take our past experiences and we just assume that this is how this is going to work into the future. Okay, my past experience, I give you an example. So someone who I was working with, they were dating somebody, and then they got burnt. The other person turned out to be kind of a piece of shit, didn't treat them good, this and that. And the other person, because they had a bad interaction with this person, they assume that's how all people are. This happens a lot in headline news media, politics, a lot of these nasty businesses is we absorb information and we get these little snippets and we just assume this is how everything is. I see one tiny little thing and I just assume, that dangerous word, assumption. We just assume everything else is just like that. So if I have a big breakup with my girlfriend, then all girls are bad. Or if I don't like the Republican Party in politics, all Republicans are bad. Or if this person does this, then everyone in that category, it's all terrible. And I think this makes it really hard to face our fears, is we attach these past experiences to a whole slew of stuff that we have no freaking idea of what's actually happening. Or at least this is what I've done in the past, and I'm not super proud of it. I see one thing and I'm like, oh yeah, that's how it always works. Yep, that's totally it. And it's just very close-minded. And I think when we close our minds and we close our hearts, it's fear just kind of takes over and it kind of creates a bunch of paranoia and a bunch of other things. So be careful of assumptions. This is something I'm really trying to work on, is just not assuming I know I know all the time. So I'm learning constantly. I want to continue to grow, but I'm not assuming, and I acknowledge that there's a lot of things that I don't know, and that's okay. That's totally natural, but I don't have to beat my own ass with stories. So unknown, and yeah, this might be a little uncomfortable, but just because I've had an experience with this in the past doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be going. And especially if you're going to continue to want to do things like grow. So let's get one more on here for the fear of why facing fears is so hard. I think the next one would be this fear of judgment. This fear of judgment. Judgment. Is there? No, there's not an E in judgment right there. I'm a dummy. Okay. Don't make fun of my spelling on this show. It's hard. Spelling's hard to do, man. Come on, give me a break. All right, either way. Judgment is something that I'd be lying if I said I didn't do it all the time still, but I'm never going to run a marathon in 0 minutes and 0 seconds. No, I'm not. But I can reduce my time as I gain experience, as I get better, as I improve, and as I grow. And hopefully this is the message we're trying to spread out to other people, is to not have so much judgment. So judgment in the sense of facing our fears is hard because if we fail, we think other people are going to judge us. We think other people are going to think less of us. If I start my own business and I fail, all of my friends are going to think I'm a dumb, stupid loser. If I do this, if I put myself out there and get a relationship, because my past experiences, they're all the same anyway, I'm going to get burnt and I'm going to fail and it's not going to work out for me. Just another reason of why facing our fears is so tough, is this judgment we place on ourselves. And the interesting thing about this is the judgment I place on myself. I used to have a lot of judgment on myself when I'd talk on camera and when I would do social media stuff in general and coaching, life coaching. I'm a very young looking, I'm a young man. I look that way too. And that I used to judge myself. No one would listen to me. No one would do this. And I don't know what I'm talking. And just round and round we go on this hamster wheel of fuckery, of just kicking the crap out of T-Dog along the way. So I think this judgment can be very dangerous, and it's just something to raise awareness to. I'm not completely rid of this, and nor do I think I'm ever going to completely get rid of judgment, because it's something that's pretty natural. Honestly, it's like this protection thing to help protect us, to help us survive. But if we can really train and build that muscle up, just like our biceps, our back, or chest, or whatever muscle, I think we can really learn to not care as much what other people think. I'm going to care what other people think. To think I'm not going to, I think is pretty ridiculous. But judgment is something that can be reduced, and I can even overcome it. And so I can take action on the things that I really want to do. All right, perfect. So these were kind of the 5 things that in my research and in my experience, I believed were the hardest reasons why overcoming our fears is so difficult. And it's just a quick recap. And it's very natural. Like, it's natural to have fears. Like, this is a natural part of human evolution. So I can't beat myself up too much because it's going to happen. The fear of the unknown, just being uncomfortable sucks. Past experiences, we're pattern forming creatures, and judgment, placing judgment on ourselves from what we believe other people think, even though the reality is they're not thinking about us at all, which is good, but it's really hard to remind ourselves of that. So this was a lot of so cutting the line down the center. So that was a lot of why it's so hard. But Tanner, what are the benefits of facing our fears? What are the benefits of facing our fears? Let me get over to my notes. All right. Well, when you lean into, I've been reading this book called The Way of the Superior Man. I'm going to do a book review on it. Absolutely awesome book. Highly, highly recommend it. The Way of the Superior Man. I believe if you're a woman, or whether you're masculine or feminine, I think it's still a really good book, but it's really specifically, the book is for people people who believe that they have more masculine tendencies in their life. Either way, not talking about that book today, but the benefits, I believe one is gaining confidence. Confidence. I want you to just think of for a second, when was the last time you faced one of your fears? Maybe you went on, I have the privilege of having a pretty wild brother, and he's big into the outdoors and rock climbing and stuff like that. And he literally takes me out, and I'm very scared, and I used to be scared of heights, and now I don't really care as much. But the fear of God in my heart, like, as we're like climbing up and doing things and yada, yada. But it just gives you more confidence when you lean into it. So if you're having confidence issues, like I used to have a lot of confidence issues talking on camera, just leaning into it and doing it more often has given me a ton of confidence. And now I can come on and I can talk about anything, whether it's love, peace, meditation, business, yada, yada, pretty comfortably. And I feel proud of that. And I feel excited about that type of stuff. So one of the benefits of facing our fears would definitely be in the world of confidence. Okay. So next would be expanding your comfort zone. So expand comfort. I think a really cool part of life is being able to expand our skills, expand our horizons, expand our opportunities, our relationship, our wealth, all of these things, expanding and really seeing what the world has to offer. I think when we get too bottled up from our fears, we can kind of bottle up and hide away in the corner. I can guarantee you'll live, as Jim Rohn would say, is like, yeah, we can get you to live to 100 years old. We'll put you in a corner. We'll put a blanket over you, and we'll wait till you're 100. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to go out. We want to experience life. Well, at least I know I do. I want to get out. I want to experience life. And the benefits of facing our fears just expand our comfort. And you see how that ties into confidence of just saying, okay, I really want to do this. I haven't driven across the country, so I'm going to go to this national park, for example. Or I haven't really tried, man, I know that sales is so vital for my business, so I'm just going to pay the $100 and do like a little weekend training or something. But just expanding our comfort, because when we expand our comfort, we expand our skills. And skills lead to opportunities. Read good books. Write every single day for 10 minutes in your journal. Improve your writing skills. Become a better speaker. Learn something about technology. Learn things about sales. I mean, if you can sell, like, you got a chance to do it. You'll always survive. You'll always find a way. But expand comfort. This really helps with the skills, and the comfort really extends to, imagine being able to do the things that you really want to do more often. And I think expanding our comfort into these uncomfortable areas is what really allows us to do that. Awesome. All right. Next one up is reduction of anxiety. So I was fasting the other day, and something that happens to me. So when I smoke a little marijuana when I fast, it gives me anxiety. And so just learning about that and trying to reduce that, or trying to investigate what's really going on. My point is here, I experience anxiety more than I would want to, and it's something I'm just recognizing. I do a lot of breathing work, meditation, eat like a really healthy, nutritious meal that actually really helps with anxiety a lot, or at least it has in my experience. So if you do suffer from anxiety, thinking of stuff like a panic attack or something, you're getting all charged up and it feels like your heart's going a million miles an hour. I think just over time, when we face our fears, it really does, it has alleviated my anxiety. So right before I do an activity, say is something, my brother drags me out to do something crazy, I start to feel like the anxiety and stuff like that, and I start to honor it. So reduce anxiety is the benefit that we're talking about right now. Reduce anxiety. So we want to reduce anxiety, that like kind of freaky feeling that we got going on our chest. And I think leaning into it, it sounds so weird or counterintuitive, but it's like we're honoring the anxiety, like honor the feeling. And the vocab seems maybe kind of weird or doesn't ring. You got to find your own way of interpreting the language on this. I know I've worked with a life coach, business coach and stuff, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm not really sure what to do and this and that. And for me, just the word honor has really helped me. So when I do start to feel anxious, I kind of honor this feeling, and I think of what are the tasks and activities? What are the tasks and activities that make me feel fearful? Why is this so hard? And once I identify these activities such as sales, creation, just putting myself out there, and I lean into it just a little bit, just on the edge, not all the way in, but just on the edge, leaning into it, it really does help dissipate the feeling for me and makes me feel a whole lot better. I know anxiety is really tough for a lot of folks, and with technology, screen time, and all this stuff, the smartphones, 24/7, social media shit, anxiety is at all-time highs. Or maybe we didn't even measure it in the past. Maybe we've always been anxious creatures. I don't know. But either way, for me, I can only speak from personal experience. I've been able to really reduce my anxiety by facing my fears, things that I've been scared of. And I think when we run away from our fears and we let that fear grow and we let that fear have the power, I think anxiety only increases. So honoring the feeling, really feeling it. Don't run from it, feel it. It's probably going to be super uncomfortable at first. It was for me, but as the more we lean into it, I think it really helps reduce anxiety and those types of feelings. So awesome. I guess the whole point there I really do want to add is figuring out those activities that make you feel anxious, and this idea of small exposure over time is really healthy to help reduce it. All right. Awesome. All righty. The last one I wanted to do on here is, problem solving. This is the big money maker. So problem solve. Life is just this big problem that we're solving along the way. And what do you pay dinero for? What do you pay money for? I would say it's to get your problem solved. If you're hungry, you go pay for food. If you need help and support, you pay for the service. If you want to make something faster, you pay for this. It's a pain in my ass that it's slow, so I pay for the software, yada, yada. People pay for problems to be solved. Awesome. We can acknowledge that. So a benefit of overcoming your fear is the ability to figure out these problems, solve these problems for ourselves. So what is something that you've been fearing lately? This is kind of me trying to bring it back home. What is something that you've been feeling some fear to lately? Is there something that you've been wanting to do, but you keep putting it off? Why do we keep putting it off? Is it because something of our fears? Are we being a little too hard on ourselves? But if we can discover the activities, if we can discover the opportunities of fear and see it just like that, See fear as an opportunity. See fear as something beautiful. See fear as something, the chisel that makes the sculpture, that creates the beautiful art that we have here in this lifetime. But if we can figure these out, I think we can get a whole bunch of benefits from facing our fears, bringing it back together. So the benefits that we really highlighted today of facing our fears would be gaining confidence, getting some more confidence, some more pizzazz. Like, I got this. I can roll with the punches, baby. Expand our comfort zone. This really helps with skill building, reducing anxiety, because that feeling sucks ass and nobody wants to feel anxious. And just problem solving. The more problems you can solve, the more value you bring to the marketplace, the more money you can bring in your business, the deeper the relationships, the healthier we can become, because it's all about facing our fears. That's what we talked and nailed home today. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Remember, you can always rewatch these episodes back. If you're just now joining us, good morning, good morning. Thanks for tuning in with us. If you're just now tuning in, you can rewatch the episode on any of our social media platforms. Preferably, I like going to YouTube. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So this is the main YouTube channel we have. And you can just go to Talk to Tanner on YouTube with the number 2 in front of it. But all of our past live streams will just be here on the channel. And Facing Our Fears would be right here. But you can come back and you can rewatch it if you really liked any of our questions, if you liked our framework. But all of this is just free content to help you be a better person. And hopefully you can inspire others to do the same. This ripple effect is real, baby. I really believe in it. And so if I can do my part, you can do your part. And then who knows where this really expands to really enhance the human family. I humor it and I empathize with it, but this whole idea that we're going to fix the world by bitching and moaning is just so stupid. Like, the only way to change is for us to change. And the world is acting so, in my little bubble here and the great life that I have a hard time speaking on it, but I'm gaining confidence with it. And I think personally, I've acted scared for a really long time. And I want to show confidence, and I want to show that I'm not scared, and that I'm really, that it's okay to be scared, but I'm going to lean into it anyway. And then hopefully it can inspire you to do the same, so you can live your dream life. You can help the people that you love and care about most. And man, what are we even doing this for, right? So cheers to that. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was an episode on fears, why facing our fears is so damn difficult. Cut us some slack. Cut yourself some slack, man. This stuff's hard. And then also some potential benefits, hopefully to entice you to take that action today. Lean into something that's been scaring you a little bit. Maybe it's sales. Maybe it's reading a new book. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's just starting a new job, or just let's go get it. Let's do something with it. So cheers. Love you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll have another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, number 491, tomorrow morning, live, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. As always, check you guys later. If you got great benefit from this video, please share it with somebody. Hopefully they can benefit from it as well. But cheers to the human family. Love you all. I got some work I got to get done. I got to jump into a meeting. But you guys have an incredible, incredible day. Much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, folks. Have an awesome, awesome day.